Yo, what's up YouTube? Thank you guys for tuning in to another video on the channel. I just wanted to make this quick video about these things I saw on Twitter today, and I think it's very interesting because I think it just goes along with everything that I've been saying about Marvel in these past couple years. So there's a guy named Bo DeMaio, I believe that's how you say his name. I don't know much about this guy, and I want to start off by saying I want to tread very lightly because according to the comments on these videos, he has a very, let's just say, questionable past. So I'm not here to talk about that, and I'm not here to lift this guy up as, savior or anything, but I just find his tweets very, very interesting. So for those of you that don't know, Bo DeMaio was the showrunner of X-Men 97. X-Men 97 is a animated TV show that came out on Disney Plus recently about the X-Men, and it's actually really good. I actually took the time to watch it. I really did like it. It wasn't like perfect. I'm not in love with it, but I do think it was really good. And if you've been keeping up with the Marvel universe, then you already know that their projects have, let's just say, not been good recently. So with that being said, it's like, there's only been 5 good projects since Endgame, and I don't consider this like one of the top 5. But Marvel X-Men 97 was really, really good. So the showrunner has come out recently on Twitter, and he's released a bunch of tweets, which I'm going to go ahead and put the tweets on the screen so you can see them if you want to pause the video or read them, whatever. But he was fired from his job, and he's putting out a bunch of tweets where he's basically calling out Kevin Feige for the way that he's running Marvel. Kevin Feige is the head of Marvel. He's the show. He's like the overall, the big, I guess you could say like the creative director. I don't know if that's exactly his title, but that's basically in my mind with the role he plays. Where he's the head, he kind of chooses the movies and the stories that's being told in Marvel. And he's basically been that way since the beginning. And obviously, him and Disney and Marvel has come into a lot of flack with the way that these movies have been recently, because since Endgame, most of them have been straight garbage, and for a number of reasons. Because the script has been bad, because the stories haven't been interesting, because the plots have been garbage, because the CGI has been garbage. Like, there's been a bunch of reasons why each individual movie has failed. People are trying to spin it off and say it's because they're political and they're trying to push certain agendas, which they are definitely trying to push certain agendas, but I have no issue with you trying to push an agenda if the movie or the show itself is good. I have no problem learning a lesson if the lesson that you're trying to teach me is good and if the project itself is good, but that's against the case. But ultimately, as you can see, like I said, I'm going to put the tweets and stuff on the screen. He's basically calling out Kevin Feige and Marvel because he's basically saying that they were not doing the reading of the comic books. They were not understanding the characters. They were not, doing the due diligence. He literally specifically says in the tweets that they don't even have the writers or the directors read the source material. They actively tell them not to read the source material. They have one person or a group of people where it's their job to read the source material and then come up with their version of it. And then instead of telling the actors and the actresses and the directors to read the source material, they want them to read their cliff notes and then make the projects. And we wonder why the product, the movies that we're getting, the fans aren't liking. They're curious and they're shocked that we don't like Ironheart. And yeah, there are a bunch of races that are going to hate anything that has to a woman in it. I guess that's sexist. They're going to have a bunch of sexist people that hate anything that have a woman in it, and then the racists that hate anything that have anybody outside of white people in it. Then they, Venn diagram, those people are going to meet in the middle. But ultimately, you can't just blame everything on trolls and bigots when the product in and of itself is not good. You're hiring people that do not care about the source material, and you're wondering why said fans of source material is not liking what you're putting out. I think it's very obvious, and it's very telling. And one thing that I do appreciate when it comes to movies, even though it's not an exact science and it's kind of hard to do it every single time because we don't know what movie is good until after we see it. But I like that in the movie industry, it's very easy to vote with your wallet. These movies that they're putting out, these shows that they're putting out, they're not good. They don't care about the people that's investing their time and money into this. So why should we go see it? Why should I go watch this movie in the theaters if you're not even doing the due diligence in, number one, writing a story, writing a good movie? That's first and foremost. But it's like you're not even doing the due diligence of learning the characters that you're writing about. And it absolutely makes no sense. How are you making a movie or a show about a character that you know nothing about? And then instead of just taking ownership of it, you blame us and say that, oh, we're just bigoted and we're just racist. Like, no, we just want good content. This is a little off topic. One of my favorite things about the movie Sinners that came out recently is there are a lot of content creators that get off on pushing that racist, narrative, DEI, all of that stuff. But one of my favorite things was watching their reviews of Sinner, because you can't sit up here and try to push DEI narratives when you have a movie that's actually good. You know what I mean? You can sit up here and say, oh, it might be overrated, but you can't sit up here and claim DEI and, say that you're pushing a message and all of this stuff when the quality of the movie is good. So I think Marvel, in some ways, needs to look at that. Like, go ahead, if you want to push your narrative, push your message, but please, at the end of the day, do the characters justice and respect the source material. I don't think it's that hard. And I think these tweets is literally just proving what everybody has been saying for years, which is right. That y'all do not care. That you've never cared. That you think that because you have I guess, the creative rights because you can make the decisions, that therefore means you know what's best or what, then and therefore how something should or should not be. And that's completely false. And I find that really, really annoying, especially as a fan of Marvel. But that's basically all I had to say. I just wanted to get that quick rant off out the way, man. Thank you guys for tuning into the video. I did my first live stream the other day. I'm going to be live streaming every single week. So, be on the lookout for more news and updates on that. But until next time, thank you guys for tuning into the video, and I'm out of here. Peace.